All right. Back to Chris Paul. Okay. This is Mike Dunleavy about Steve Kerr.
Okay, we got it.
Yeah. Just let's all listen to this and tell me if you're buying what I'm selling.
Well, yeah, I mean, hopefully that's not the case. So
Right.
I guess in terms of concern, yes, to, be doing a coaching search after the season is not something that I want to do. Steve's been such a stalwart here, and we want to have him back for many years to come to continue to grow with this group. But, you got to plan for everything. And I think Steve generally means in terms of if something doesn't get worked out, I mean, he's going to coach the year out and he'll do a great job. But I think we're all optimistic that we can make something happen because both sides want to.
Right.
I know that's true from our side. I know that's true from Steve's side, talking with him and his representation. So, we'll see how it plays out. I get the comparisons with Bob, but I think it is a little bit different.
I don't like it.
Oh, I'm so not concerned now.
Oh my goodness!
Because when it was real time, I was like, oh. But he said both sides want to get something worked out.
Why isn't it then?
That is the $1 million question.
Okay. I'll tell you why. Because they can't come to the agreement on money.
You really believe Joe Lacob would not make him the highest paid coach in the league?
I don't know about making him the highest paid coach.
My point is,
why
there's no
isn't
deadline.
It done?
There's no hard deadline.
I'm going to use your words. Then why isn't it done? Both sides want it. Both sides want it.
That is
and you
fair.
know what?
That is
and
why isn't Clay done then? Why isn't Clay done?
What do you mean?
Why? How come Clay's
Clay's not getting an extension, I don't think. Hold it. 415. I hear you, 415.
Please explain.
Mike Dunleavy saying Steve might be too expensive. And the one above.
But that has nothing to do. His money doesn't go against the cap.
It doesn't matter. Okay, can I be honest with you right now?
I hope you always are.
If Steve.
So now you want a cheap coach.
Do you acknowledge? Nobody said cheap.
It sounds like that's what I would tell the Warriors they're doing if they don't want to give this man we're talking about what he's done.
How many years are you giving him? That's the other thing. How many years are you giving him?
3 or 4.
4. Okay. You're giving him 4 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're convinced that you want Steve Kerr to coach this team when the big 3 is gone.
See, I wouldn't give him the money I don't think the big 3 are gone in 3 or 4 years.
Well, you said 4 years, so I'm talking 4 onto the end of this.
Steve may say, okay, 3 then. Let's do 3.
Okay, this year and 3?
Yeah.
Dude, okay. Well, then Draymond's contract's up and Steph's contract's up.
I don't know how Dre's is up if he signed for 4 and everything is cool and he's still here. Okay.
And the next 3.
1 year off or one take or give, they align, Steiny. That's not it, man. I don't believe it. I hope it's not money. And the reason I hope it's not money is because all that he's accomplished. And if Dre can get 4 hundo, Steve, Steve ain't gonna lose physical ability coaching. I mean, what's the holdup? But there is no Bob Myers when I thought that would never be reality.
You know what the holdup is?
So I'm going to shut up.
Here's the holdup.
I'm going to shut up.
Put the rat on the table.
Brought to you by Echo Pesca.
The holdup is Steve Kerr wants more money than Joe Lacob's offering him.
How can that be?
Because it's the only thing that can be. What else would it be other than money?
What if you would have said, is there a money issue with Steve Kerr? You think he would have took that?
What if it's a year's issue? Could be a year's issue.
It's got to be that.
Okay.
But Steve said he wants to do this for a while, not 1 or 2 years.
But Joe Lacob, listen, I think Steve Kerr's a tremendous coach. I don't think I would sign him to a 4-year extension.
And the main part of that would be you don't think he's invested, or you think he would?
I don't know that I want him to be the coach of a team that's in transition. And listen.
Okay, so how about
this team is going to be in transition either this offseason, next offseason, or the one after that. I mean, come on, people. At some point, we're getting close to I'll just say transition. I don't need to say the end. There's going to be a transition at some point, and I could see Joe Lacob saying, boy, do we want Steve under contract for a lot of money when on the team is, let's say, 7 guys under 25.
But on the Kawakami podcast that Joe Lacob was on, and I know it's just words, just like Dunleavy Jr., our guy, said Poole's going to be here. He didn't sound like money was a thing. I'm going Jermaine Dupri.
Like,
Can I be honest with Bob?
What do you mean he didn't sound like it?
It sounded like, you know what? We're talking. I know what he's meant. He wants to be here. He wants to still coach. We're going to get it worked out. And that's where I'm still at. But the Bob Myers thing to me, Steiny, and I don't want to come off because I'm not in the know, but I believe Bob was tired for working for the way Lakeup's style is. Okay. And that's okay. There's love still there, but I never knew it was that strenuous mentally, and it was on full display at the press conference how awkward and how they weren't together. That wasn't Shaq and Kobe, and they weren't doing it on purpose. You could just see it. But now I'm thinking of Steve Kerr. You've coached these guys since they were puppies.
But here's where I think you're not. I mean, you're the same guy, Goo.
Yeah.
That criticized Steve Kerr because he wasn't playing youngsters. He's never really,
and
played.
He admitted that error.
Okay, so isn't it fair to assume, would we want Steve Kerr to coach a team if we are a lot younger? Which, I got news for you, they're going to be younger moving forward because they can't get older. So let's say Kuminga is still pretty young. Let's say Podziemski's a good player. Let's say the other guys, let's say they got good young players, and that's what we're finding out. Do you want Steve Kerr to be in charge of developing a young team going from just okay to we got to try to get back to championship level?
I got to. That's beautiful,
Thank you.
But if you're right, they would already know nothing's going to happen then.
And it's possible they both. And see, that's where you're naive at times.
Like the way you set it up, if you're right, then nothing's about to pop off.
Maybe not. Nothing pop. Do you think Joe Lacob offered Bob Myers his first contract that was for the most in the NBA?
No.
I don't either.
You think Bob regrets that? I mean, Joe regrets that?
No, I don't.
Because I guess why I'm taking offense to how you set it up is Draymond got, I believe, paid for what he's done. We saw the Giant players get paid for what they've done. Half of this new contract should be about what Steve Kerr has meant and done, not about you got to prove to me, can you coach? Like, that's on the back end of it, Steiny, when the stuff gets funky, if it does. What about what I've done? Can I cash in this chip?
It's unbelievable.
I'm just being real.
Tell you what,
you go out
I'm
on your own.
reminding you all of stuff 4 years from now that you said now that you're going to never believe you said, but you said it. Okay, you think Steve Kerr's you want him here 5 more years. I'm not saying I don't, but
something's up.
But
there's a hang up, you're saying.
I don't know about a hang up.
Well, it's not done.
I think there are a lot of Warrior fans that understand what I'm saying.
But you're speaking for management too, though, Steiny.
Of course. I'm talking from reality.
Is he the guy for the job if the job detail changed?
Thank you. You're the same guy who said he didn't play Wiseman enough. I want Moody more.
You know what?
I want Kuminga. Okay, well, that's fine, and I'll subscribe to that. But then you can't say on the next breath, love to have Steve Kerr developing our young talent. I got to say this to you. In 4 years.
Steiny, like a good pair of Ray-Bans. I'm looking at it through the glasses of Curry, Dre, and Klay Thompson are going to be here at least 3 more years together. So have the contract for 3 years.
And you know what? That's why I think it's not happening. Believe it or not. Because what I really think is Steve Kerr wants 3 or 4 more years. But I'm saying,
I would actually want 5.
Joe Lacob,
yeah,
doesn't allow for. You know what? I mean, we're going to keep this thing going as long as we can.
All right. Gotcha.
If we don't have a good year this year, you don't just bring everybody back again. That's what you're doing this year.
Right.
Okay, so let's just say the Warriors, things fall apart this year. I'm not saying they're gonna. Right. But as an owner, you absolutely positively have to plan for the worst and the best.
But if that scenario, and we don't want it to happen, presented itself, I feel like Steve Kerr's a made man to where whatever went wrong, he didn't go bring Chris Paul in here, Steve Kerr. Okay. Why would Joe look at the coach as the reason that happened if we could all see, man, it's just not, there's not a good fit.
You believe that Steve Kerr
is a Don, Steiny.
Okay, so he is the coach to lead the Warriors post-dynasty.
Okay,
Let's put the rat on the table.
No, I guess I keep telling you, I think 3 years would suffice. So when you talk like that, I don't even like thinking about after.
But he's got this year.
Okay,
so 3 more years puts you at 2027.
All right, here we go.
How many points is Steph Curry going to be averaging in 2027? He'll be
now that's
40.
That's a big deal. Okay, that could be a plummet. But I'm not saying we love you. My point is, Steiny, he's got 1 year. Okay, give him 2 more.
Well, maybe he's like, I'm not signing for 2. I want 4. 888-957-9570 is the number. Ooh, Steiny turning into Skip Bayless. Why? Because I didn't hear Mike Dunleavy say something that made me confident that Steve Kerr was definitely going to be here. He didn't.
Yeah, but oh my gosh,
this is how it started with Bob Myers.
No,
what don't we see?
You know what? I have nothing for you there, but I told you that was more of a preference from Bob. It wasn't about Bob not getting the bread. Okay, I believe that. Now, I could be totally wrong. But my goodness, if a guy ever deserved a blank check, it's Steve Kerr for what he's done.
Nobody deserves a blank.
It's not about if he can, if we go young and that's like the worst scenario. And maybe in business, you got to think worst case scenario, like a parent. But Steiny, something's off that this is not done if it doesn't get done before.
And I'm telling you why. I'm telling you why I think. Not definitely.
Because this doesn't add up to what we know.
Actually, honestly,
to me
it does.
Oh, man.
It really does.
Then Warrior fans really need to.
By the way,
I'm not stirring the pot. Just real quick, Steiny, you really need to prepare yourself for life without Kerr. If that ball opens up, if the season opens up against Phoenix and he has no contract,
right.
I don't think one's getting done during the year.
I don't know.
That's scary. And it shouldn't be that way.
It's possible that he'll get a contract extension during the course of the season. But my question is, I didn't realize. Just extend Kerr. Just pay him the most money of any coach. That's fine. He's got to make more than Monty Williams. But if he's making more than Monty Williams, he wants years, I'll bet you.
You could be. Wow.
So, and the one thing that I really, listen, Steve Kerr's a great coach. He's a great coach. But it is absolutely, positively fair to ask, okay, he's a great coach. Do you want him coaching the post-transition era? I don't know that I do. That's all I'm saying. I might.
But that would be, here I go, that would be 4 years, though, I believe, Steiny, at minimum.
What do you mean?
I believe that would present itself when the big 3 are gone or one of them start to leave before the other. That's not imminent. That's all I'm saying.
How many years do you think these 3 guys are going to play together?
Honestly,
and at what level?
I'm being real. Well, Dre, I know he's got 4. Clay, 3 years at least. Okay. I believe. Would you say I'm crazy for that?
I'd say you're optimistic. You're optimistic.
Well, a hurricane would have to hit this team, a basketball hurricane. They would really have to be sorry, look lethargic,
what
and all. Dre's up for 4.
What if
Curry's through how long?
Okay.
We got
Curry.
Curry.
What if guys start breaking down?
Then how attractive do they become somewhere else?
Okay. Well, then you're done. Then it ain't going to be 3 years.
But you didn't ask me how you are. You said you'll still be together.
Oh, as long as they're together. See, that's the thing, Goo. This is where as long as the big 3's together in 3 or 4 years, who cares if we're any good?
Oh, no, I'm not saying
that's what I hear a lot from Warrior
but
fans.
I was breaking it down okay, it could be ugly, but they would be together.
Oh.
No, I'm not saying that suffices for the playoffs. I'm just telling you that's how that would happen. And if they were to get hurt, you become less attractive.
By the way, let me clarify something on Klay Thompson. I said Klay's not getting an extension. I don't know that he's not getting an extension. I know that on media day he said he might, if he gets an extension, he gets an extension. If he doesn't get an extension, he said
going down to the wires, man.
Duh.
Clay. Spray Clay. I predict a big season for Clay.
415.
What?
Steiny, You keep saying you may not want Kerr to coach post-dynasty, but you don't say why. I said it a million times. What's been the biggest criticism of Steve Kerr in his coaching tenure? He doesn't develop young guys. He doesn't develop. And is it true? I think it's overblown. I actually think it's overblown. I think Steve Kerr just is a championship. Hey, do you want to win a championship or not? Because if you want to win a championship, I can't play the young guys. Maybe if they're out of their championship window, he would be a great coach for the post-transition because he would say, we're not a championship team anymore. I got to develop. But what we know of Steve Kerr is a lot of people were not happy with the way he handled Kuminga and with the way he handled Wiseman and even whoever, all the names, Jacob Evans.
I'm starting to wonder if Lacob is if he's holding him accountable for some of that. Like if that's in the back of his mind that the Wiseman thing went the way it did. You won the battle, but you're not going to win the war. I got rid of Wiseman. It didn't work out. We got to give Steve Kerr, because we talked about it. We brought this subject up. Is it the coach's job to raise these guys, or is that the coaching staff? Jordan Poole, Steiny, you got to put that in the column of he brought him from the bottom to the top. Kerr, that was under Kerr's watch.
Okay, and then if I want to devil's advocate, I'll be like, how did he play last year? How was the jump from 2 years ago?
Well, he got hit in the face in front of America. Yeah, so
he got worse last year.
Yeah, but I would believe that punch had something to do with that.
I'm sure the punch had something to do with it either. All I'm saying is if I wanted to make the argument that he didn't develop Jordan Poole last year, I mean, I don't necessarily believe it, but I think you could.
I keep thinking about PB Chase, Donnie. I hate they let go of him.
No, you didn't. You haven't thought of him one time. I was talking to
Tim Roy, the great Tim Roy, and his name came up.
Okay, and how so?
I wonder if
we're talking about
grooming young guys. Maybe it was more attractive. If Kerr is the coach, maybe they thought it wouldn't happen.
So you do see what I'm saying.
I'm wondering if the James Wiseman thing, which the last supporter and the biggest supporter outside of myself was Joe Lacob. I'm wondering he traded Wiseman, but I'm starting to wonder now that Steve doesn't have a new deal if there's some residual from that about Wiseman not blossoming.
That's kind of what I'm saying. I don't know if that goes from point A to point B, Wiseman, but
the Kuminga too.
All of them. But my point, we're getting deep into the weeds here, which is fine, but I never thought the young guys should play as much as everybody else wanted them to play because we're in a championship window.
Moody showed you he could play though. I could
play 10 minutes on a championship team. That's fine. I'm talking about integrating guys over the course of the season. He's never done that. But you know what? I didn't want him to do that because we had championships to win. I'm just saying if the window is closed or closing, I think it's fair to ask whether you want Steve Kerr to take you into the next thing. And you know what? He may sign a contract extension by the end of today.
Remember, we thought it was going to be last week.
I'll tell you what, I'll be surprised.
Because he was on with Bonte and Shasky.
If Steve Kerr gets a 4-year extension tacked on to this year,
I would not be surprised.
It's the end of 2024. His contract's up. So he goes 25, 26, 27, 28. I would, if I were Joe Lacob, let me ask you this. Evan, jump in here. If you're Joe Lacob right now, would you sign Steve Kerr through 2028 for more money than anybody else has ever gotten to coach?
Depends on this season.
Thank you.
I think now more than ever the Warriors are a year-to-year franchise.
And that's what I think.
But let me ask Evan something. Is that just about wins or losses, or you want to see how or what jumps beyond basketball that the young guys take under Coach Kerr?
I think it's just a fragile roster in general. You got a lot of guys that could either have career seasons for being old. I think they could succumb to injury. You guys could be fat cats with their new contracts. I just think there's a lot of moving parts that they haven't had to deal with before. And so Steve Kerr's, his biggest focus is probably not the young guys. And that might be an issue. But because of everything else going on with the team, I think you just kind of have to wait back and evaluate.
So I'm real quick. I know it's up against break. So Steiny, it sounds like Coach Kerr has to prove something still to Joe Lacob.
I mean, I don't know about that.
It sounds that way if you want to think about him being able to coach this roster when it gets younger.
You'd sign him to a 4-year extension.
I would.
What about 5?
No, I wouldn't do that.